Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Shyam Metalics and Energy Limited Q2 and H1 FY22 earnings conference call. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in listen-only mode. There will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star and 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Pankaj Harlalka, Head IR, Shyam Metalics and Energy Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Tanvi. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us in the call. I, Pankaj Harlalka, Head of Investor Relations at Shyam Metalics, wishing you all a very good evening and a very warm welcome to the second quarter and first half FY22 post-results conference call. Before we delve into discussing the second quarter and the first half 22 post-results conference call, before we delve into discussing the quarterly numbers, I, on behalf of the management, would take this opportunity to wish you all a very happy Diwali. I hope you all had an opportunity to review our press release and the attendant investor presentation, which are available under the investors section of our website, and the same are accessible in the BSE and NSE websites. The press release and the investor presentation has been emailed to the investors and analysts who are part of our email distribution list. To discuss the second quarter and first half results, I am joined by Mr. Brij Bhushan Agarwal, our Vice Chairman and Managing Director, Mr. Deepak Agarwal, Executive Director, Finance and Compliance, Mr. Ravi Ramalingam, Vice President, Corporate Services, and Payal Dave from Orient Capital, our investor relations partner. Before we begin the conference call, I would like to mention that some of the statements made during the course of the conference call by the management may be forward-looking in nature, including those related to the future financial and operating performances, benefits and synergies of the company's strategies, future opportunities, and the growth of the market of the company's products. Further, I would like to mention that some of the statements made in today's conference call may be forward-looking and may include risk and uncertainties. I would like to upfront state that during the Q&A session, questions should only be pertained to the quarter under review and of the first half of the current financial year. The management would not be commenting on any of the speculative news that may be doing rounds in the social media or in the electronic media. For the benefit of the existing shareholders who could not participate in our previous investor call, and for the new set of investors who have onboarded us recently, I would like to give you an overview. Shyam Metalics and Energy Limited is an integrated ore-to-metal company present across the value chain in the alloy steel as well as non-alloy steel segments. The company's diversified product profile and cost leadership while implementing the CAPEX programs and maintaining discipline while managing operating costs have enabled the company to maintain consistency in reporting profit at the operating and at the net level for the past many years. Our disciplined capital allocation policy of executing CAPEX programs through internal accruals and take debt only to meet our working capital needs have enabled us to overcome many rough business cycles successfully over the past 2 decades. Sticking to what has worked for us, we already have an expansion plan in place to organically grow and diversify our product portfolio. Our expansion plans are brownfield and are coming up at strategically located locations. While what we manufacture has the market potential to be exported, we are reasonably protected from the threat of imports. We are mostly in the long product segment of the steel industry, and we have not seen any imports into the country for products manufactured or segments catered by us in the past. All our plants are located very near to source of the raw materials, and the same are abundantly and sufficiently available, facilitating cost leadership and timely availability. We over the years have invested in good infrastructure and upgraded the technology from time to time, which is reflected in our operating and financial performance. We have private railway sidings in 2 of our major plants. We follow a model of waste to value, while designing the production modules and always believe in creating a fine balance in capacities which have led to consistency of performance. This has assisted and enabled the company to report steady profitable growth. We have captive power plants majorly based on waste heat recovery from our DRI kilns. The low cost of power is mainly used to support and meet the requirements of our ferroalloy plants, making us one of the lowest cost producers of ferroalloys in India. We are one amongst the largest ferroalloy producers in the country, the fourth largest sponge iron producer, and amongst the largest pellet producers in the country. We primarily produce intermediate and long steel products such as iron pellets, sponge iron, steel billets, TMT bars, structural products, wire rods, and ferroalloys with specific focus on high margin like customized pellets and specialized ferroalloys for special steel applications. Our TMT and structural products are sold under the brand SEL. We also undertake conversion of hot rolled coils to pipes, chrome ore to ferrochrome, and manganese ore to silico-manganese for an Indian steel conglomerate. We are in the process of diversifying our product portfolio further by entering into segments like pig iron, ductile iron pipes, and aluminium foil. We presently operate 3 manufacturing plants that are located at Sambalpur in Odisha and Jamuria and Mangalpur in West Bengal. At the end of FY 2021, the total installed capacity of our manufacturing plants was 5.71 million tons in aggregate, comprising of intermediate and final products, and now at the end of FY 2022, it is at 5.7 million tons still. Our plants also have captive power plants with an aggregate installed capacity of 227 megawatts at the end of FY 2021, and now at the end, it still remains the same. Our Sambalpur and Jamuria plants operate as an integrated steel plant and has captive railway sidings, captive power plants, and captive water reservoir. Our plants are fungible by design, which provides us with the ability to quickly adapt to the ever-evolving market conditions by changing our production and product mix to enhance the operating margins, thereby insulating the profits from the price volatility. We have 8 captive power plants that utilize non-fossil fuels such as waste rejects, heat and gas generated from our operations to produce electricity, thus enabling us to operate at lower power costs. Our Sambalpur plant caters to customers in central, western and southern regions of India, whereas our Jamuria and Mangalpur plants cater to the customers in northern and eastern regions of India. Our product caters to a mix of customers that consists of institutional and end user customers through our distribution network. At the end of first half 2022, we have partnerships with 80 dealers, distributors who stock and sell our products across 28 states and 1 union territory. In the first half of FY 22, we derived 80% of revenues from domestic markets and the balance came from overseas markets. The revenues from B2B institutional segment accounted for 65.7% of revenues and B2C through dealer network accounted for 34.3%. We have a strong risk management system in place which has been formulated by a very experienced board. Now I would like to invite Brij Bhushanji Agarwal, Vice Chairman and Managing Director, to provide his perspective on the performance of the second quarter, and as for the first half of this current financial year, he will also provide his thoughts on our strengths and strategies of the future. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Pankaj. A very good evening to all the participants, and thank you for joining us on the call to discuss our second quarter and first half financials 2022 business performance. At the same time, I wish you all a very happy Diwali and pray God for a good health and happiness to all the members. I would like to begin the call with a brief overview of the financials, followed by the operational performance and the strategic initiative. After that, I will like to hand over the call to our Executive Director, Finance, Deepak Ji, to discuss on the financial performance in the greater detail. We will then open the conference call for a Q&A session. I am pleased with our operating and financial performance for Q2 financial year 2022. For Q2, we have achieved a revenue of rupees 2494 crores, which is 2,494 crores, growth of 87% over last year's second quarter. In the terms of revenue mix, I am glad to share that we have also increased on the higher value-added segment, such as long products, structures, pipe in our Q2 against Q1. For Q2 FY22, we have achieved an EBITDA of 624 crores, growth of 140% over the last second quarter. In the terms of blended EBITDA per ton, we have achieved rupees 17,008 rupees per ton for Q2, an increase of 144% over last year's second quarter, primarily driven the changes because of the revenue mix and the improvement in the realization. Now, I will quickly review the first half financials for the Q2 22, where we reported a revenue of rupees 4959 crores, which is 4,959 crores, growth of 121% over last first half. In terms of revenue mix, the higher value added segment accounted for 33.5% of FY21 against 36% in H521. We reported an EBITDA of 1,312 crores, growth of 218% over last year's first half. In first half 2021, we reported an EBITDA of 18.3%, and I am glad to share that in first half 22, our EBITDA margin has gone up to 26.4%, an expansion of 810 BPS. In terms of blended EBITDA per ton, we achieved 1,890 rupees in 22, an increase of 126% over last year's first half. And as we are focusing on improving the product mix, improvement to realization, operational efficiency, and cost optimization and rationalization efforts enable the company to report a net profit of 874 crores in financial half of 22, growth of over 264% over the last first half. Overall, I am very pleased with the way we have reported our Q2 and first half number. Now, I would like to share about our integrated operations across the chain. The integrated nature of our manufacturing facilities has resulted in the control of overall aspects of our operations, as well as the improved operating margin, enabling us to focus more on the quality and create multiple points of sale across the value chain. Our manufacturing plant are strategically located on the raw material source, and we believe lower our costs in the forms of transportation, provide significant logistical advantage, thereby improving our operating margin. Our plants are located within 250 kilometers of the mineral belt, and hence our access of iron ore fines, manganese ore, chrome ore, coal is not difficult. I am also delighted to share that since the modeling of our business is dependent on the domestic raw material, we are insulated from the import risk of coking coal, and this always gives us a distinct advantage on our EBITDA margins and the cost. We believe the strategic location of our manufacturing plant has helped us in creating synergy and achieving the economic scale of operational efficiency. Apart from that, we are well connected with roads, railways, and ports. As Pankaj has very statedly clear that out of our total revenue, around 20% of the revenue is from the export market. So the advantage of nearing to the port enable us to take the advantage and create a better realization in the company from the point of an EBITDA margins. Our Odisha and West Bengal are very much on the national highway. Plants are very much on the national highway, and our Sambalpur plants have also the railway siding and are connected with the river for the perennial and the consistent supply of water to run the steel plant. We are on one of the few integrated metal producing company in India having the facilities of a captive railway siding and enjoying the access of the water from the river for the perennial supply to run the steel plant. As we all know, water plays a very vital role for the steel manufacturing, and a supply and a perennial supply is very important to run the steel plant very smoothly. We have in Q2 FY22, we have exported to more than 7 countries. We achieve cost efficiency by utilizing the waste management byproduct as a raw material input for our products and processes. To control the power cost, we utilize the dust, the flue gas, which comes out from our product manufacturing. To control, it comes from the iron making, and solid discharge is utilized, including the washery rejects from the boiler, to reduce the coal cost in the steel making, thereby reducing the cost in the power plant. We have the lowest cost of captive power in India. Captive power plant utilize non-fossil fuels such as waste heat, reject, and gas generated from the operation of producing electricity. In FY 2021, 79% of the power consumed was captive, and the cost of power was ₹2.15. At the end of FY 22, I am very delighted to share that our cost, in spite of the prices of the raw material, has gone up. We had reduced our power cost to ₹2.09 by increasing the efficiency of the plant and utilizing the best efficiency and the available resource. With the range of quality structured products sold, SCL brand, the company is in the product market, holds the pride of the place, and is on the leading steel manufacturing company. Since raw material are manufactured from the integration from the final fines to the steel, we are able to produce high value long product structural steel at a very efficient, cost and effective manner. The company has identified key levers like digitalization, operational excellence program based on the principle of Kaizen, 5S Lean, PPM, PQM to achieve its goal. We have upgraded our IT platform from SAP ECC to SAP S4 HANA 220, with it committed to improve the delivery of the implementation theory in order to upgrade the capability to mobility. The company engaged in 2 operational excellence programs in its Bengal and Odisha plant for the period of 26 to 30 weeks with BCG, which is Boston Consulting Group, and Renault, which enjoys a high excellence of the operating efficiency team to improve the further efficiency in the existing plant. The objective is to introduce the best-in-class workflow practices in our work area. The company is committed to introduce highest level of real-time digitalization and automation by integrating the various product lines. Now, I come to the discussion on the expansion plan, and I would like to state that our existing integrated installed facility of 5.71 million ton would become 11.6 million ton, and the captive power plant from the capacity of 227 megawatt will become 357 megawatt over next 4 years. The proposed expansion program is expected to become operational between 2022 to 2025. In addition, we are in the process of commissioning our aluminum foil plant in West Bengal with the proposed installed capacity of 0.04 MT per annum, which is expected to become operational in this month itself. The overall capital expenditure that we intend to incur is about 2960, which is 2,960 crores over next 4 years. For FY 2022, we intend to spend 850 crores, and all of would be funded from the internal accruals. Till the first half, FY 2022, we have incurred a capex of 464 crores. Just to recreate, most of the expansion are in the form of the improvement of our existing facility and organic expansion. I am delighted to state that we are enhancing our pellet capacity from 2.4 million to 3.6 million ton, and also increasing sponge iron capacity from 1.4 million to 2.9 million ton. We are also enhancing the steel billet capacity, TMT structures, from 0.8 million ton to 2 million tons. We relentlessly integrate our operation by using the existing waste byproduct to introduce new higher value products. We keep investing on new infrastructure at our plant and explore opportunities to obtain the synergy from our existing manufacturing facilities. This will enable us to keep our operating costs under control, which we believe is essential for reporting profitable revenue. Before I conclude, I want to assure you that we from the management expect the strong demand to continue due to the current upcycle in the steel industry, increased contribution from recently added capacity along with the product diversity and higher share of the value-added product would drive the operational and financial performance well into the current financial year. To sum it up, the overall state of our core business continues to be strong. Most of our businesses are doing better than what we started at the beginning of the financial year. And with what I conclude my portion of the speech. Now I would request Deepak Ji, our Executive Director of Finance, to take up through our financial performance of the quarter under the review and for the first half of the current financial year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. A very good evening and a happy Diwali to all the participants, and thank you for joining us on the call. I will give a quick review of the reported consolidated financials for the quarter under review and for the first half. On a consolidated basis, the company for the second quarter of 2022 reported a revenue of 2,494 crore, growth of 87% over the last year second quarter. We have been able to sell higher percentage of volume sales of finished steel has enabled the company to overcome the rise in input cost and modest decline to finished steel prices. As a result, our EBITDA for second quarter of the current financial year on a consolidated basis achieved at rupees 624 crore, and there is a growth of 140% over the last year's second quarter. Just to drive home the point, an increase in the raw material cost to operating revenue by 100 bps in quarter two of the current financial year over the quarter one of the current financial year. has been mitigated by decline to other expenses to operating revenue by 110 basis points in the quarter 2 of the current financial year over the quarter 1 of the current financial year. On a consolidated basis, for quarter 2 of the current financial year, we reported an EBITDA margin of 25%, an expansion of 5 over the last year's second quarter. In terms of blended EBITDA per ton, we achieved rupees of 17,008 per ton in quarter 2 of the current financial year, an increase of 144% over the last year of the second quarter, primarily driven by the changes to revenue mix and improvement in realization. As a result of improved operating performance on a consolidated basis, we, for quarter 2 of the current financial year, reported a net profit of rupees 416 crore, growth of 160% over the last year of the second quarter, on the top of 470% on a year-on-year basis growth achieved in the previous quarter. For the first half of the current financial year, we reported a revenue of 4,959 crore, that is growth of 121% over the last first half. In terms of the revenue mix, the higher value-add segment accounted for about 34% of the first half of the current financial year revenues, as against 36% in first half of the last financial year. For the first half of the current financial year, we reported an EBITDA of 1,312 crore, a growth of 218% over the last first half. In first half of the current financial year, we achieved the EBITDA margin of 26.4%, an expansion of 810 basis points over the last year's second quarter. In terms of blended EBITDA per ton, we achieved rupees of 18,090 rupees per ton for the first half of the current financial year, an increase of 126% over the last first half of the last financial year, as we are focused on improving the product mix. Improvement to realizations, operational efficiency, and cost optimizations and rationalizations of efforts enabled the company to report a net profit of 874 crore in the first half of the current financial year, which is a growth of 264% over the last year of the first half. We achieved a good improvement to our working capital days. For the first half of the current financial year, our working capital days were at 45 days as against 69 days at the end of the last financial year. Similarly, we achieved a massive improvement to our capital efficiency during the first half. Our ROC and ROE at the end of the first half of the current financial year were 44%, 44.4% and 34.3% respectively, as against the 25.3% and 23.2% respectively at the end of the last financial year. This is really a very dramatic. At all point of time, our gross debt to equity has remained below 0.5x, as we have a clear-cut policy that our debt will never cross at any point of circumstances to the extent of less than 0.5x. The gross debt to equity, which was at 0.22x at the end of the last financial year, is now drastically reduced to 0.08 at the end of the first half of the current financial year. We have turned net cash in the first half of the current financial year. From the cash flow statement, you can make out the first half of the current financial year, we incurred a capital expenditure of rupees 464 crore as against 361 crore in the last financial year. From the net cash flow from the operating activity, 1,008 crore in the first half of the current financial year, we incurred 464 crore towards the capital expenditure, and our deployment towards the investment during the first half of the current financial year was 589 crore. From the IPO proceed of the company, we repaid our existing working capital debt to the tune of 467 crore and I am also glad to share that the financial risk profile of the company has been significantly strengthened with the reduction in the gross debt followed by the public offering in June 2021. This has led to robust debt protection metrics. Despite Our higher capital expenditure in the first half of the current financial year in comparison with the last financial year did not lead to any decline in the free cash flow to EBITDA factor. For the last financial year, we reported a free cash to EBITDA factor was 41%, and also similarly in the first half of the current financial year, our free cash to EBITDA was 41%. Our net operating cash flow from operating activity to EBITDA has been hovering around 75% to 76%. Our business model is such that we always report consistent EBITDA margin by improving the product mix, generate cash flow to fund the capacity expansion. Our strategy has always been to incur capital expenditure in a smaller doses in piecemeal to ensure that the balance sheet is never stressed. At all point of time, we closely monitor the liquidity, solvency, and capital efficiency ratios. I would like to assure you that the company sustained the healthy financial risk profile despite pursuing sizable capital expenditure plan of about 2,960 crore over the next 4 years, added by internal cash generation and sufficient liquid surpluses, which will ensure we take only limited debt in the event of any fund flow mismatch. I would like to assure you the bank limit utilization at the consolidated level is expected to be remain moderate going forward. Also, the annual cash accrual should suffice for the capital expenditure requirement and debt repayment. On the back of strong operating financial performance and with the strong net cash flow from operating activity of the company, yesterday in a board meeting declared an interim dividend per share of rupees 2.25 rupees per share, amounting to an outgo of rupees 57 crore. Before I conclude our statement, I would also like to share and happy to share that our rating have also been upgraded from AA minus positive outlook for long-term facility from CRISIL. Similarly, the CRISIL has also upgraded our short-term facility A+ positive. This is all from my side. Now I conclude my portion of speech and through the floor open for the question and answer and over to.
Thank you very much, sir. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Amit Dixit from Edelweiss. Please go ahead. This is the operator here. Mr. Amit Dixit, your voice is not audible. It is breaking up in between.
Is it better now?
Yes, sir. Much better.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
Sure. So, good evening, everyone, and congratulations for a good set of numbers and becoming net cash positive, a rare feat in metals and mining space in India. So, I have 3 questions. The first one is on your sales volume target for finished steel and ferro alloys for the year FY22. The second question is on the hike in coal cost that we have seen for everyone. So what kind of coal price escalation do we see? And you can provide a blend of both imported coal and domestically sourced coal in Q3 vis-a-vis Q2. And the third question is essentially on export mix. You said you exported to 7 countries. So what is the proportion of export coming from revenue in H1, and what kind of proportion can we expect for the whole year? These are the 3 questions.
Hi, Amit. Related to the first question, related to the coal, I would like to share that, as I have stated in my statement, that we are not very dependent on the imported coking coal in our steel making process, and we have a high flexibility of using a wash coal as we are on the pit head, our plant is on the pit head, and we have a captive power plant. So what generally we do, we have a long-term FSA in the tune of around 45% of our coal requirement. And we are very much insulated with the fluctuation, majorly on the market side. We also have a flexibility while we see the imported coal prices going very high. We have a flexibility of using more wash coal and making sure that we should be able to work on the decent bottom line. Related to the imported coal and domestic coal, I would say like imported coal is always we work as a sweetener, and on the percentage side, I can briefly I can share, because on day-to-day numbers and all, I'll not be very clear, but yes, briefly I can tell you like, on an average around on the total coal purchase, more than 80%, 85% of our coal is a domestic coal, and around 10 to 15% is only an imported coal. So if you see the prices in last 3 to 4 months, we have seen the recurring prices of the coal, which has gone absolutely crazy. More than 80-85% or maybe 90% of the coal is within the coal price what we had projected. And if you see these numbers, what we have come out in this quarter is only because of the efficient hedging of the coal and proper planning of the raw material. Related to the other question, which is an export revenue, we are exporting to so many countries, like we are exporting to America, we are exporting to South Korea, we are exporting to China, we are exporting to the European countries, and so we have a different product mix. Like we export long product as well to a country like Sri Lanka, which is just a next door to us. We export ferroalloy to Europe, America, as we are in the specialty alloy. And we do export the billets and all to the other neighboring countries like Nepal and all. So we have a different product mix. As you know that we have a very distinct advantage of various products, and we make sure on the realization part, like the best numbers on the terms of the bottom line and the revenue, what we extract over the domestic in the terms of the export. Regarding the long product business, as you had asked one of the questions, I would very well say that, if you see the result, the output of Q21, vis-a-vis Q22, there will be a substantial increase in the volume in Q22, and as we are very much enhancing our capacity on the long product and focusing more and more on B2C businesses. And if you see overall revenue of the business in the terms of the total revenue, around close to 35%, we are able to extract from the value chain, which is from the sale of the long products and structures, which is a quite substantial if you compare with the last year, Q21. And with our present expansion, which is going on, and focusing more on B2C market, as I have rightly shared my view in my last investors call, that we have signed the most iconic brand ambassador, Salman Khan, for our branding on the B2C space. We are enhancing more and more our dealers, supply chain management. So with the time to come, with the focus of our company, with our distinct locational advantage of 2 plants, one in the eastern India, Bengal, which will serve to the northeastern, north and eastern, and the Odisha plant, which is focusing in the central India, southern India and western India. I am very sure having the cost advantage and the quality of the product where we are so much, up to the standard, we will be able to do a very decent numbers in the time to come. Thank you so much, Amit.
Great. Thanks and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, if you have questions, please enter star and 1. The next question is from the line of Prashant KP from Dolat Capital. Please proceed.
So thanks for the opportunity. And sir, I would like to understand if out of the 3,000 crore rupees capex that you have announced, about I think 900 crores is already spent, and the rest 2,000 crores to be spent on the various projects over the next 3 years is what is the plan right now. But if hypothetically, if the cash flows are robust and our internal accruals plus the existing cash balance is sufficient, is there an optionality or is there a possibility to accelerate? Technically or practically, is it possible to accelerate the expansion plans to conclude by, let's say, FY24 mid, that is in 1.5 to 2 years from now? Is there such an optionality, a practical possibility? If you could throw some light.
Yeah, thank you, Prashant. Very interesting question. I can understand your concern as an investor, but I would like to share, as you know, that we have been very prudent on our commitment, and whatever we have shared our view on the investors' that we want to be sure that we should be able to deliver it before time. But I would also like to share, when we are talking of this 3,000 crore capex, it comprises of multiple units like, from the enhancement of the pelletization plant to the sponge iron plant to the power plants to the steel making to the steel mill to the other specialty alloys and the blast furnace. So these are the capex what we have taken. I'm very delighted to share that the power plant of 40 megawatt which we were supposed to commission next year is ahead of schedule, and in this quarter we are going to commission this 40 megawatt of power plant. And other plants also, which was scheduled to be commissioned next year, some billet manufacturing facilities and some other iron making is also going to be commissioned in this quarter. So, but in the phases like different plants are there, we are right now, at the verge of post-COVID. Lot of disruption is there across the planet. We all know the challenges of the imports of plant and machinery, the logistic challenges and all over. So we want to be pretty sure, what we had committed, we want to abide with that. And yes, very much we are giving our best effort, and we will not leave any stone unturned to give our best, to make sure that whatever is possible, we are going to do that. Thank you.
Understood, sir. So just one more question. On your aluminium foil capacity that you have added, by what time do you think you would be able to operate at a rated capacity in terms of customer orders and in terms of technical feasibility? If you could please throw some light on that.
Yeah, see, this is a very, very sophisticated and very, very, high-tech foil industry. And since with our expertise and all, we had been able to install a very decent plant and a very world-class engineering. We are on the verge of, commissioning of this plant, because all the trial run commissioning is already in the process and all. So I think, we have to start, and maybe in next 4 to 6 months, we should be able to, come to a decent capacity level. I would say maybe minimum is 4 months to the maximum of 6 months.
Understood, sir. Understood. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Chirag Mehta from Chirag Mehta and Company. Please proceed.
Sir, RTS, congratulations on the stellar performance quarter and quarter and resulting into a net cash position of the company. Sir, first my question has been answered by you, which was relating to the acceleration of the CapEx. Another thing, sir, I wanted to understand is here we are saying on slide number 7 that we are expecting some consent from the relevant authority for the few of the projects. So can you throw some light on what is that? And what I understood from this is that these are all the completed projects. So have we the revenue, when we can expect the revenue to be generating from this?
Can you just repeat your question again, Chirag भाई? थोड़ा सा आवाज क्लियर नहीं आ रहा है आपका. I'm
एक
sorry.
मिनट सर, एक मिनट. Sir, what I was saying is that on the page 7 of the presentation, there is a note which says that we are awaiting the consent to operate from the relevant authorities for the few of the projects. So थोड़ा इसमें सर आप समझाएंगे कि what permissions or anything we are expecting from that, and when we can expect the revenue to start generating from that.
मतलब कोई भी प्लांट चालू करने के लिए डिफरेंट अथॉरिटी होती है पराग भाई. जैसे ये फैक्ट्री इंस्पेक्टरेट्स होते हैं, उनसे परमिशन लेना पड़ता है. और लोकल अथॉरिटीज होती हैं, और ये एनवायरमेंटल गवर्नेंस होता है कि आपको कंसेंट टू ऑपरेट देते हैं वो लोग. जब आप पूरा कंप्लायंस करके उनको अपना रिपोर्ट दे देते हैं, तो दे हैव देयर ओन सिस्टम्स. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ द कोविड, बिकॉज ऑफ देयर ट्रैवल्स एंड ऑल लॉट ऑफ इश्यूज, थोड़ा सा डिले होता है. बट एवरीथिंग इज अंडर ट्रैक और प्रोसेस में है. यही सब अथॉरिटीज हैं जो क्लियर करती हैं. तब हम प्लांट को उनको पूरा कमीशन करके सर्टिफिकेट देते हैं.
So when we can expect that permission, मोटा मोटी मतलब approximate basis, and then
1.5 months, 1 to 1.5 months we are expecting.
Okay. So you mean to say that from next quarter we can expect the revenue from this?
बिल्कुल चिराग भाई, उम्मीद करते हैं 99%.
Okay. And sir, overall what asset turnover we are looking into it?
देखिए अभी हालांकि हमने अपने पास के प्रोजेक्शंस में हमने हमेशा ही प्रूडेंट बोला है, लेकिन अभी अगर आप 2 क्वार्टर का देखते हैं, करीब 5-1 हज़ार करोड़ का रेवेन्यू अर्निंग है कंपनी का.
Okay.
और ऑन द प्रूडेंट साइड अगर हम देखते भी है तो आई वुड बी वेरी कंफर्टेबल इन शेयरिंग दैट कि वी शुड बी एबल टू ओवरकम 10,000 करोड़ रेवेन्यू दिस ईयर ऑन द कंपनी साइड.
Okay.
हाँ जी.
That's great, sir. That's all from my side. Thank you and best of luck.
धन्यवाद.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, if you have any questions, please enter star and 1. The next question is from the line of Sagar, individual investor. Please proceed.
Yeah, thank you for giving this opportunity. So the question is regarding the appointment of brand ambassador. So what would be the cost of that assignment, and whether that cost is being put in the P&L or is that capitalized?
एक तो धन्यवाद मेरे को आपको करना चाहिए कि आपने हमको समय दिया हमारी सुनने के लिए. और रिलेटेड टू अ ब्रांड एम्बेसडर, आज के दिन देयर इज अ सब्सटेंशियल कॉस्ट, एंड अकॉर्डिंग टू द फाइनेंशियल आई थिंक ये सब जितने भी ब्रांड कॉस्ट होते हैं, आई थिंक दीज आर ऑल go under the brand expenditure, मतलब कैपिटलाइज ही होना चाहिए. दीपक, व्हाट इज योर कंसर्न? हमारे फाइनेंशियल वाले से आपको ज्यादा अच्छा बता पाएंगे.
Agree. Whatever be the brand cost which will become under the capitalizations, brand and marketing.
Okay.
बिल्कुल. कलर की एज अ परसेंटेज ऑफ रेवेन्यू कितना होगा, या लाइक
very small, negligible.
पीनट है, एकदम पीनट है. मतलब आज टोटल रेवेन्यू के कंपनी के हिसाब से और जो है पीनट.
Okay. And sir, the next question is with respect to investment. So the investments have gone up from 215 crores to 744 crores. So these investments are all financial investments, or what is it?
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you. Whatever be the investment we have made to the tune of 720 crores in the form of arbitrage, FDs, liquid, tax saving bonds, etc. These are our financial assets.
Okay. And sir, in terms of the property, plant and equipment, there has been a reduction. So is that because of the divestments that you've done during the quarter? Is that the reason?
No. If you look into the last year financials, our total gross block is 1,700 crore. From there, it is 16.6, which is because of depreciation for the 6 months.
Okay. And the last question is in terms of the divestment. There are some 3 divestments that you've done. If you can share some light on that, what's the consideration and what valuation, to whom was this sold? I mean, just to understand this.
Yeah. We have a non-core investment up to the tune of 11 crores of rupees, which we have divested in the last quarter, to the tune of 18 crores. We have gaining of more than 8 crore rupees on that non-core investments.
Okay, it's an insignificant amount. Okay, fine, understood.
Yeah.
Okay. And sir, just if I can just chip in a last question, what is the other financial assets of 90 odd crores?
90 odd crores, 82 crores, no?
Yeah, 82 crores in the financial assets, and then there is something else also in other current assets, in the other financial assets of 89.7 crores.
As far as 87 crore, which includes, when we talk about the 87 crore other financial assets, which includes the incentive receivable in form of like our whatever we have made the investments in our capex, we will be getting some incentive from the state government, and we are provisioning that in our books of account for our capex.
Okay, sir. And the last question is the other.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. Request you to please come back in the queue.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dinesh Kotecha from KRIC. Please go ahead.
Good evening to everybody. Sir, I have got only 1 or 2 questions. One is regarding the subsidiaries that we have got. Do we have 20 subsidiaries or do we have 16 subsidiaries now? That is the first question. Because 5 are sold, 1 is struck off and 2 are acquired. So I'd like to know the results which are shown consolidated is of 20 subsidiaries or 16 subsidiaries. That is my first question. Second question is out of that 12 subsidiaries, I would like to know how many are profitable and how many are making losses around. Thirdly, you have sold, the group sold the stake during the quarter in one of the subsidiaries, 5 subsidiaries. Now, have you sold the full stake or the part stake has been sold?
So basically, if you see the consolidation in the subsidiaries, from 12 we have brought it down to 7 as of now because we sold 5 subsidiaries. Okay? And we look at the overall picture, there are 2 important companies, SMEL, which is Shyam Metallics and Energy Limited. The main company is an operating company which has all the steel business. Similar businesses are in Shyam Cell and Power Limited, which is a 100% subsidiary of the company. The others were basically for, in Bengal, if you see, land and all is very difficult. So when you acquire land and all, you need separate companies. That is why they are there. As and when you get a clearance, we consolidate that in the same. Otherwise, there are no other operating subsidiaries substantially. Yes, the aluminium foil division that we have started, that is also in a subsidiary. So that operations will come. We've also made 1 acquisition. So that is also that will also be a subsidiary. So if you see, 4 operating subsidiaries is what we'll have going forward.
Right. Now, so my second question is, we have got 3 plants. One in Odisha, one in India, and one in Mangalpur, right? Now, I would like to know how old they are, because what is the maintenance capex that is to be incurred in the current year?
नहीं, your question is not clear. एक बार आप फिर से बोलेंगे अपना question?
सर, मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि हमारे 3 प्लांट्स है सर, संबलपुर में, झुमरिया में और मंगलपुर में, राइट? उसमें से कितना मेंटेनेंस कैपेक्स कितना होगा उसका, क्योंकि सब ओल्ड प्लांट्स है सर, कितने ओल्ड है वो भी मैं जानना चाहता हूँ.
Our company started in 2003 with operations starting at 2005. So from there on, we've kept on increasing the capacities there. So if you look, we are 17-year-old that way, and there is a capex which is going on in terms of technological improvements, which is an ongoing process for us in our company. So that goes on. I think that is to the tune of exact amount. I'll just tell you that.
No, the average, I think, Pankaj, what he wants to know is, since we started the plant 2005, and gradually we have grown up, we have installed the new capacity year after year. The average life, if it's 16, 17 years old, then maybe 7 years or 6 years should be a decent, on the, the age of the plant. Because if you are talking on the average capex, what is an average capex, what you have done is important. Because
sir, I am talking about average maintenance capex, sir, maintenance capex.
That is around 18 to 19 crores. I just checked the figure. Last year we did about 18 to 19 crores for maintenance of the plants.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt, sir. So we request you to please come back in the queue. The next question is from the line of Nandish from Money Control Research. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity and congratulations on a good set of numbers. Sir, my first question is the internal target for FY22 in volume terms for all the products which you sell? I know pellets till the finished.
Hello.
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 Sir,
Ravi,
Nandish,
hello. Hello.
So are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you. Were you able to hear Nandish's question?
Nandish,
Right.
Nandish, as per the SEBI LORDR route, we are not looking for a future number. But if you look into our existing facility, 1 million ton, we are sale volume is 3 million ton. Out of this 3 million ton, on half year of the current financial year, we have already achieved the sales volume of 1.667 million ton, and we will definitely achieve what we are projecting in our financials. But we will definitely incremental in our sales volume for the next 2 quarters.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Pranay Zaveri from J&J Holdings. Please proceed.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. First of all, I want to congratulate for the great set of numbers. Sir, I have some couple of questions. First is, what is the net cash with us as on 30th September?
Yeah, we have a net cash of more than 1,000 crore, which is around 1,008 crore.
Okay. Sir, since our promoter holding is at about 87-88%, what is the deadline or the timeline for getting it down to 75%?
As far as SEBI guideline, we have to dilute in the next 3 years. So we will be definitely diluting our equity to the extent of 75% within 3 years.
From the date of the issue?
Yes.
Okay. Sir, if you can just throw some light on the margin profile or the margin picture going forward, like comparing it to the first half, that would be quite helpful. In terms of our RM cost going higher, some pressure on realization, if you can just give a trend line, something.
See, if you see this quarter, we did an EBITDA of around 25%. And the coal, which is a major raw material, I have already discussed, like we are quietly, covered with the sense of long-term linkages, and we are not dependent on the imported coal, neither the imported coke, which has shortened up from $200 to $650. Iron ore prices have also gone down substantially, which was very high on the first quarter. There's a correction of more than 40% in the iron ore price. With the this industry, we have always seen like, the third quarter onwards, the market always pick up because, after the festive session, the demand goes up, and third and the fourth quarter always is a very, very handsome quarter for this sector. We expect that we should be able to do and maintain our numbers, what we are covering right now, but it's very difficult. We can only expect, and with our kind of business modeling, with this time product, locational advantage, and if you see the peers also, we had been doing substantially decent on our targets and numbers. So I think we should be able to follow the map, what we are doing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anirudh Singhi from Dalal and Broacha. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening, and thank you for taking my question. My question is on our capital allocation. So we have about 2,000 crores of capex left and about 750 crores of cash, net cash. So about 1,200-1,300 crores is what is left to spend, which given our current profitability should be less than a year's cash flow. So by the time we finish our expansion in FY25, we'll be sitting on a huge cash pile. So what do we intend to do with that? Are we going to increase our capex program, or are we going to reward shareholders? Like, what is the intention of that?
See, you are very correct. Like, we are the numbers what we projected on the EBITDA number of around 1,800 to 2,000 crores, and if you see half year till first half, we have already crossed more than 1,300 crores. As the expansion and the future expansions, we are working on this point of time, but it is too premature because we have been always very prudent on our projections and our business plans. So, we are right now working. Maybe once the time comes and we are very clear with a good value additions and the new expansions with a good IRR, because any project what we take, we make sure that we should be able to achieve an IRR of more than 18 to 20% minimum to fall into the new capex plan. And with our present expansion which is going on, we would like to focus at this point of time to make sure that we should be able to cover all in and outs, all corners in this expansion, and then might be in the time to come, once our board takes a positive view and we are very sure about our next phase of expansion, we will discuss on that.
Will we also be looking at inorganic expansion or backward integration in terms of iron ore or coal?
See, as an opportunist, we will be definitely looking, but not at the cost of any negative business. If you see the iron ore auctions, what has really happened has not served any positive revenue to any of the steel companies which has taken the iron ore. So once we see the prices on the mining industry is stabilized and we see that we should be able to generate some additional revenue, we will definitely like to go. So it all depends on the opportunity. Once we see that we are going to get it, we will definitely do that.
Okay. And my second question was, would it be possible to get a segment-wise EBITDA per ton? So how much we make in pellets and steel and ferro?
This is Ravi here. Since we haven't shared such information in public domain, we would refrain from sharing this information now because it will violate the SEBI LODR. Thank you.
Okay. That's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhijit Mitra from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking my question and congrats on a good set of numbers and on becoming net debt free entity, in fact, net cash entity. My question is on the CapEx side, again, just as a thought, in future, what steps can we take to sort of, reduce the volatility of the operating performance? Because I'm sure while you would not disclose the core steel EBITDA, if I strip out ferroalloys and pellets, it's on a downtrend. Now, any thoughts or any incremental move towards businesses or lines of businesses which can sort of strip out the volatility of this business, the inherent volatility? I think that's the only question I have. Thanks, and again, congrats on a great set of numbers.
Thank you so much. See, as you see, we have mentioned in our all the presentations like the design advantage of the logistic of the plant. Your plant is located on the mineral belt. We are very much insulated, from the high logistic cost, from the availability of the material, timely supply. We are very near to the market. You are very much, in the product where we are insulated from the import threat. We have a distinct advantage of a multi-product. Like, you have seen, like, once we see any kind of the businesses which goes on the better side, we have the flexibility of shifting and focusing more on that. We are not just a HR coil manufacturer or just, one long product manufacturer. Like, it is like with the various distinct baskets of the product, this flexibility is very much within our business model. And yes, it is a volatile business. I totally appreciate your concern, but I can just share that, the place, the positioning of your plant, the strategic location of the market, the different businesses in the terms of export and domestic is very much, mature in the terms of the high volatile, and that's all. Thanks. That's all.
Thank you. Due to time constraint, this was the last question. I now hand the conference over to management for closing comments.
Hi, this is Ravi here again. We are very thankful to all the participants for joining us on the call. Ravi, on behalf of the management, is signing off. If you have any questions further on the Q2 or the first half results, you can always reach out to Deepak Ji or to Pankaj and email them, and they'll be more than happy to give any reply. Thank you, and please disconnect. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On behalf of Shyam Metallics and Energy Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.
Thank you.